Welcome to Your Pelvic Health Podcast. My name is Susan Winograd. I'm the owner and founder of Pelvic Core Rehab, and I am thrilled to be your host today. Today, we have a special guest. Her name is Lynn Schulte. She is the founder of the Institute for Birth Healing, and I feel honored and privileged to have her here because I have not only taken her course, but I have referred a client to her, which she has treated with me, and I can firsthand attest to the remarkable results of her practice and her beautiful treatment. Lynn, welcome.
Thank you, Susan. It's such an honor to be here. I so appreciate this time and opportunity to share with everyone.
It's really an honor and a privilege. Lynn, I am not going to do you justice, so I'm going to let you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am a pelvic health physical therapist. I also say birth healing specialist. I have been a PT. I stopped counting at 30 years because I'm not getting any older, everyone.
I know.
So you all know that.
I'm up to 28, and it's like when I say that number, I'm like, right? How did that happen? But it goes by fast.
I know. So,
but once I hit 30, I'm going backwards.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
I just stopped saying I'm 30 plus years of practice. And let's see, back in 2008 is when I really started focusing in on working with pregnant and postpartum women. And that's when I discovered when I moved from Seattle to Boulder, I had to start my practice all over again. And I started to teach classes to postpartum moms. And they came in, and then I started getting them into my practice. And I was really only seeing postpartum women. And that allowed me to discover that there's these patterns that I kept seeing in every single person that I laid on my table. And I started putting on YouTube some of the things I was discovering in the postpartum body and about some of these patterns. And I started getting emails from women all over the world saying, oh my gosh, I have exactly what you're talking about. Do you know someone who can help me? And I was like, no, because a lot of what I discovered on the body was self-discovery. It wasn't like I learned it in a course from someone else. I learned it by feeling and palpating the body and the tissues and trying to understand, like, what are the mechanics for birth and why am I finding the bones in this same place on everybody? And so I was kind of like telling these people, I really don't know who I can turn you to. You can try a pelvic floor physical therapist. You can try a practitioner who does visceral manipulation, but they're not going to see it in the same way that I do. And so that's really what spurred me to found the Institute for Birth Healing, which I did back in 2016. And I've since been traveling the world teaching other bodyworkers what I know about pregnancy and postpartum recovery.
Right. So I think that is, first of all, we want to just acknowledge the fact that you recognize these patterns because, I've been doing this for a long time, but I'm not so sure that if I was treating someone and the next person that I would be able to really take a step back and say, wow, like this is a pattern that's showing up in all women. And the fact that you were able to do that is remarkable. I had Alexandra Millspa on my podcast this morning. We were talking a little bit about EMDR and that the founder of EMDR really discovered the technique when she was feeling stressed out and she went to sit outside and she was watching trains go back and forth and she realized that her eye movement patterns of right and left with the train was calming her nervous system. And we were saying that's pretty freaking amazing that she recognized that there was something to that. So I want to sort of acknowledge your intuition because you do really have a special way of treating.
Thank you. And it was that intuition that spurred this discovery, right? Yeah. Because it's that whisper inside, like that whisper in my head that said, check this out, look at that, look at this. And that's how I discovered these patterns. And I do have to say that it helped that I was only seeing postpartum women. I wasn't seeing women with endometriosis and pelvic pain and, all these other things that most other practitioners do, right? They see a conglomeration of all different kinds of patients, whereas my practice was just postpartum. So I feel that is a big contributor to why I was able to find these patterns and then figure out what to do with those patterns. That was the other discovery, right? And what happened was I was, people were coming to me and saying, oh, I have right side low back pain. And I've been seeing a chiropractor, I've been seeing a massage therapist,